The baby elephant should have run. Any animal would have. A leopard crouching in the grass, muscles coiled, amber eyes locked on target. Every instinct screams to flee. But she didn't move. She stood perfectly still at the edge of a rocky outcrop in Tanzania's Ruaha region. And the reason she couldn't run was lying unconscious at her feet. A man, blonde hair matted with dust, safari clothes torn, not moving. The leopard was 30 meters away. The baby elephant was maybe 7 months old, too small to fight, too young to understand what a leopard could do. But she understood something else. This man had saved her life an hour ago, and she wasn't going to leave him now. Ryan Cooper had been photographing wildlife in Ruaha for 3 weeks. He was 31 years old, from Montana, with sun-bleached blonde hair that fell past his shoulders and the kind of weathered tan that comes from living outdoors. He had come to Tanzania to document the dry season, the harsh months when water becomes scarce and animals gather at the last remaining pools. That morning, he had parked his Land Rover near a dried riverbed and set out on foot with his camera. That was his first mistake. He found the baby elephant a kilometer from the vehicle. She was standing at the edge of a steep ravine, her small body trembling. Below her, maybe 4 meters down, was a narrow ledge, and on that ledge, pacing back and forth, was a leopard. The leopard wasn't hunting, it was trapped. It must have fallen during the night, chasing something, and now it couldn't climb back up the smooth rock walls. It was angry, scared, and dangerous. And standing between the leopard and the only climbable slope was a baby elephant who had wandered too close to the edge. Ryan assessed the situation in seconds. The leopard couldn't reach the baby elephant, not yet, but the ledge connected to a section of crumbling rock that might give the cat a path up. If the leopard figured that out, the calf would be in striking range within minutes. The baby elephant was frozen with fear. Her trunk hung limply. Her eyes were fixed on the predator below. Ryan did something that went against every rule of wildlife photography. He intervened. He moved slowly toward the calf, speaking softly. "Hey, little one,
It's okay.
you need to move.
You're
You need
exactly
to come
where
with
you
me."
need to be right now.
The elephant's ears spread wide.
breathe
She looked at him, this
and let the
strange
stress
creature
go.
with long yellow fur on his head, and didn't run. Maybe she was too scared to run. Maybe she sensed something. Ryan reached out his hand. The calf's trunk extended, touching his fingers. Warm, curious, trusting. "That's it. Come on, let's go." He guided her away from the ravine, step by step, until they were clear of the danger zone. The leopard snarled below, but it couldn't follow. The baby elephant was safe. Ryan smiled, wiped the sweat from his face, and turned to head back to his vehicle. That's when the ground collapsed beneath him. The dry riverbank gave way without warning. Ryan fell 3 meters, his body slamming against rocks and packed earth. His camera flew from his hands. His head struck something hard. And then, nothing. He lay motionless on a rocky shelf, unconscious, blood trickling from a gash on his forehead. Above him, the baby elephant stood at the edge of the collapse, looking down. She made a sound, that high-pitched cry of distress that elephants make when something is wrong. She paced back and forth along the edge, trunk reaching down toward the man who had just saved her. But she couldn't reach him, and she couldn't climb down. All she could do was stay. The trapped leopard had found its way out, the crumbling section of rock that Ryan had worried about. The cat had figured it out. It climbed slowly, carefully, muscles straining against the smooth surface. And when it reached the top of the ravine, it smelled blood, human blood. The leopard moved through the tall grass, following the scent. It was hungry, it was angry, and it was done being trapped. It found the collapsed riverbank within minutes. And it found something else. A man lying unconscious on a rocky shelf and a baby elephant standing over him. The leopard's amber eyes narrowed. It lowered itself into the grass and began to stalk. The baby elephant saw the movement in the grass. Her ears spread wide. Her small trunk rose. Every instinct told her to flee, to run as fast as her legs could carry her away from this predator. But she didn't move. She positioned herself between the unconscious man and the approaching danger. The leopard crept closer. 20 meters. 15. The baby elephant made a sound. Not a trumpet, she was too young for that. A warning call, high and thin and desperate. The leopard paused, assessing. A 7-month-old elephant was prey, but prey that stood its ground was unpredictable. And there was something else in the air, a scent the leopard recognized. Other elephants. Close. The baby elephant had been calling for more than herself. She had been calling for her family. They came over the ridge like a storm. 8 elephants, the baby's family herd, led by a massive female with one ear torn from an old injury, her mother. They had heard the distress call. They had been searching for their lost calf for hours, and now they were running at full speed toward the sound. The ground shook with their approach. The leopard made its decision instantly. One meal wasn't worth 8 angry elephants. It turned and vanished into the tall grass, retreating to hunt another day. The herd arrived like a gray wall, surrounding the baby elephant, trunks reaching down to touch her, to smell her, to confirm she was alive. But the mother wasn't focused on her calf. She was focused on the man lying unconscious on the rocks below. A human, near her baby. Her ears flared, her trunk rose, and she charged. The mother elephant reached the edge of the collapse, her massive body blocking out the sky. Below her, Ryan Cooper lay motionless, completely defenseless. The mother's eyes were wild with protective rage. Every instinct told her this human was a threat. Humans meant danger. Humans meant poaching. Humans meant death. Her trunk rose, ready to strike. And then, the baby elephant did something extraordinary. She ran to her mother's side, pressed her small body against the massive leg, and made a sound. Not a cry of fear, a sound of reassurance. The baby elephant's trunk reached up, touching her mother's face. Then she turned and looked down at the unconscious man, and she made the same sound she had made when Ryan had touched her hand an hour ago. Trust. The mother elephant froze. Her wild eyes moved from her baby to the man below. She saw the blood on his face. She saw how still he was. She saw how her calf stood near the edge, watching him with something that looked almost like concern. Her trunk lowered slowly. She didn't understand what had happened here. She couldn't know that this human had saved her baby from a leopard, had guided her away from danger with gentle hands and soft words. But her daughter knew, and that was enough. Ryan Cooper opened his eyes to find 8 elephants staring down at him. For a moment, he was certain he was dead. Then the pain hit, his head, his ribs, his entire body screaming from the fall, and he realized he was very much alive. He lay still, barely breathing, watching the massive shapes above him. The mother elephant stood at the front, close enough that he could see every wrinkle in her skin. Her eyes were fixed on him with an intensity that made his heart stop. And standing beside her, small and gray and unmistakable, was the baby elephant he had rescued. The calf's trunk extended down toward him. It touched his face, his forehead, his blood-matted hair, the same gentle exploration as before. "Hello again," the touch seemed to say. I stayed. Ryan's eyes filled with tears. He understood now. The calf had protected him, had stood between him and whatever danger had come while he was unconscious, had called her family not just for herself, but for him. "Thank you," he whispered. "Thank you." The baby elephant's trunk lingered on his cheek for a moment longer. Then she stepped back, returning to her mother's side. The herd didn't leave immediately. They stayed near the collapsed riverbank for nearly an hour, as if standing guard while Ryan slowly pulled himself up, checked his injuries, found that nothing was broken. When he finally climbed out of the collapse, slowly, painfully, the elephants were still there. The mother watched him emerge. Her eyes were no longer wild. Something had shifted. Ryan stood on shaking legs, facing the herd across 10 meters of African dust. The baby elephant was in the center, surrounded by gray bodies. But she was looking at him. Her trunk rose, that small gesture that Ryan had seen elephants make to each other. A greeting, an acknowledgement. Ryan raised his hand in return. The mother's trunk rose too. Not a threat, not a warning, something else. Something that looked almost like respect. Then she turned, and the herd followed, moving across the golden landscape toward the distant trees. The baby elephant walked in the center, protected, glancing back once before disappearing into the shimmer of heat. Ryan watched them go. He had come to Africa to photograph wildlife. He had found something else entirely. Ryan never found his camera. It had shattered in the fall, along with 3 weeks of photographs and thousands of dollars of equipment. He didn't care. Some moments aren't meant to be captured. Some moments are meant to be lived, felt, remembered in a way that no photograph could ever hold. People ask sometimes about the bonds between humans and wild animals. They say we're separate, different, that the wild is meant to be observed, not touched, that intervention is always wrong. Maybe they're right. But Ryan remembers a baby elephant who didn't run, who stood over his unconscious body and faced down a leopard because he had shown her kindness an hour before, who called her family and then convinced her mother that this human, this strange creature with long yellow fur on his head, was not a threat, who taught him that protection isn't just something humans give. Sometimes it's something we receive from the most unexpected places. He saved her from a leopard. She saved him from becoming prey. And in that moment, something older than species, older than fear, brought them together. Gratitude. It doesn't need language. It doesn't need understanding. It just needs one being to recognize another and choose to stay. If this story moved you, subscribe to our channel, because every week we find another moment where the wild and the human meet and something extraordinary happens.